I spent time by myself that felt peaceful, restful even, a chance to think, breathe, and simply be. But I've also walked into a room full of people and felt completely alone. It's a strange feeling. You're surrounded by conversation, laughter, movement, yet somehow you feel invisible. Maybe you've experienced it too. Maybe you sat at a family gathering where everyone was talking, but no one was really listening. Maybe you've been scrolling through social media, seeing hundreds of smiling faces while feeling more disconnected than ever. Or maybe you've stood in a crowd, wondering if anyone really knows what's going on inside your head. That's because being alone isn't the problem. Sometimes being alone is exactly what we need. It's where we recharge, think clearly, and reconnect with ourselves. Feeling alone is different. Feeling alone happens when we don't feel seen, when we don't feel understood, when we don't feel that anyone truly knows us. And that's why simply surrounding ourselves with people doesn't always solve loneliness. Neither does collecting followers, likes, or endless messages. Real connection isn't measured by how many people are around us. It's measured by whether we feel safe enough to be ourselves. I've been thinking about this a lot since hearing the elderly man's story I spoke about in an earlier video. He wasn't simply lacking people around him. He was longing for connection, more than just talking to someone at a checkout. There's a difference. As AI becomes more capable of conversation, it's worth asking ourselves an important question. If a machine can keep us company, can it help us feel less alone? And I talk about that in my latest video. Perhaps sometimes it can. A kind conversation, even with AI, might help someone through a difficult moment. But I don't think technology can completely replace what happens when another human being truly sees us. And when someone notices we're quieter than usual. When they remember something important we told them weeks ago. When they ask how we're really doing and wait for the honest answer, and they're willing to get the honest answer, not just the floss and the gloss. Those moments tell us something more powerful. You matter. You've been noticed. You belong. And maybe that's what so many of us are searching for. Not for more people, not for more notifications, just one genuine connection. So perhaps the goal isn't to avoid being alone. Perhaps it's to build lives where fewer people have to feel alone. Feeling alone in a crowd doesn't always mean you don't belong anywhere. Sometimes it means you're becoming more aware of what real connection really actually is. Not just proximity, not just shared space, but being seen, being heard properly, being understood. And maybe that's the uncomfortable truth. That loneliness isn't always about absence of people, it's about absence of resonance. The sense that your inner world is real to someone else, not just tolerated, not just skimmed over, but actually met. And once you've felt that difference, you can't completely unfeel it. You start to notice the gaps, the places where you're present but not quite reached. But you also start to recognize something else. That real connection does exist, even if it's rarer than you thought, even if it takes longer to find. So maybe being alone in a crowd isn't just a state to escape. Maybe it's also a signal, a reminder of what you're actually looking for. Not more noise, not more people, but a place where you don't have to translate yourself just to be understood. So why do we sometimes end up feeling alone when technically and physically we are not? We often hide how we're really feeling and don't openly share it with people for fear of rejection. But if we told someone, they may be able to support us through it, and as a result, we may not feel so alone. Sometimes just getting something off your chest is a big help. Ever heard of the saying, a problem shared is a problem halved? I think it rings true if you can share it with the right person at the right time. Perhaps we still feel alone because we confuse company with connection. Just because we have people around us doesn't mean we feel connected to those particular people. So how do you achieve that connection? If you have any thought on this, please let me know in the comments. I think being brave and reaching out to safe people helps build connections. Also, helping other people can also often lead to budding friendships. Being friendly certainly increases your chances of finding people you connect with, as does belonging to community and social groups. Being part of an organisation with a cause can lead to special connections too, as you aim for a common goal and push through hurdles together. Another reason we sometimes feel unconnected is that we spend more time performing than being known. People don't really know the real us. Be honest and genuine towards others, and hopefully it will flow back to you, and then authentic connection may happen more. And think about this. Small talk isn't intimacy. It is superficial and sometimes necessary, but really fulfilling. Learn how to ask genuine questions of people and show you are interested, and maybe they will reciprocate. Being understood is more important than being surrounded. So what happens when we feel understood? We know we're understood when we no longer feel alone inside our experience. People often know they are understood through a combination of experiences. The other person reflects back what they mean accurately. You find yourself saying, yes, that's exactly it, rather than having to keep explaining. You don't feel the need to defend yourself. Instead of being judged or corrected immediately, you feel someone has grasped your perspective even if they don't agree with it. Your emotions make sense to the other person. Someone might say, given what you've been through, it's understandable you'd feel that way. That validation can be deeply reassuring. You feel calmer afterwards. Being understood often reduces the mental effort of carrying your thoughts alone. Many people notice they physically relax or feel less isolated. The response fits what you actually needed. Sometimes you need advice, but often you simply need someone to stay with your experience. When they respond in the right way, it feels like they got it. Interestingly, understanding isn't the same as agreement. Someone can completely understand why you think or feel something and still hold a different opinion. Likewise, someone can agree with your conclusion without really understanding how you got there. Maybe none of us need hundreds of people. Maybe one person who really listens is enough to change someone's day. Perhaps the greatest gift we can give isn't advice. It's making someone feel less alone. I'd love to know what you think. Have you ever felt lonelier in a crowd than you did when you were by yourself? What do you think is the answer to this? Do we need to worry about this sometimes? Is it okay sometimes to feel like that? And what do you do to connect with people and to help others feel connected? Please leave your comments below, and I'll see you next week.